Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soul Connection. Melissa Culbertson here, along with my husband, Brent.
Hi, everyone.
He just likes to come along for the ride here and help me out. No. So today is 222. So those of you that are, connected in any way with the spiritual realm, it's an important day today. And I think it's, a divine work here at hand today with my guest that I have on tonight and the number 222, as I'm just reading up on the meaning of 222. So just want to share a little bit before we get going. This is the third show that I've done now, and I am a medium. I do my medium work full time. Along with that, I also have a meditation studio where we use crystal singing bowls and gongs, and I facilitate a self-love class. So just through, working with different people throughout the years, I thought getting a podcast together and having people on that I've met with, got to know through my work, to share real life stories with people because they inspire me all the time, every day. And I just wanted to share that with the world. So that's what the show is about. It is real life, real stories, and hopefully it inspires everyone else out there. So before we get going, and I introduce my guest about what 222 spiritually means here. We need to be patient and remember that dreams take time. You need to renew your faith and know that you are on the right track. You need to focus on the positive things that you want instead of flooding your mind with the negative things that you fear. Not only reminds you to be positive, but it reassures you that a positive attitude is warranted. It confirms that you are on the right path in the context of love. It is a sign that persistence pays off. This is angel guides you are in a building phase of your life. It is a sign that you're in the right direction and need to keep the faith. So with that, I welcome Shelby to the show here.
Hello.
Hi, Shelby. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what do you Yes, welcome. So 222, reading that, I'm like, I have the goosebumps just like thinking about you and your journey. And like it's just, like I said, divine intervention here tonight. So I got to know Shelby through briefly at the Center of I Am at the metaphysical shop that I used to work at. You started to come to the gong baths. And then when we transitioned into our new studio, you were coming to the studio there. And then you took my recent group self-love class. So we got to know each other a little bit better. And you came in for a reading recently as well. Yeah. So we're going to talk. She's going to share about her journey here tonight. And when I have people come on too, like this is, sometimes these stories are going to be heavy. And it's not always easy to share our stories here too. So if you can just give her a lot of love tonight as she's sharing her story, because she is the sweetest person that you'll ever meet. So give her some hearts, give her some likes and shares, and show her your support. So Shelby is going to talk about her journey through addiction and loss and spiritual awakening, which, for a lot of people, it can be kind of a frightening thing, especially after you've endured a lot of different traumas in your life. But you're going to, help others out there by sharing your story here tonight, Shelby, too, and letting them have some reassurance that, like, it's okay, even though there's going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs, that just stick with it, and beautiful things await on the other side of things. So Shelby, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up. We both are from the same town, basically, in Dubuque, Iowa. But just share a little bit of a little background about yourself to get us going here.
Sounds good. So I lived with both my parents. I had a brother. I went to Catholic school up until I was in 6th grade, and then I transferred to public, which was kind of like a big shock, the difference. And then when I went to high school, I partied a lot in high school, just did, I thought, normal high school things. And
Mhm.
yeah, once I turned 18, my whole life kind of just flipped upside down real quickly.
Yeah, I was the person too that went to school to have fun always too. So I can
Yeah.
definitely relate to that. Like, yes.
Hey, our kids are
Yes.
watching.
Oh, yeah. Get good grades. So yeah, so 18, you hit 18 and yeah, what happened there?
So, when I turned 18, I went to Iowa for a little bit. Same thing, party scene. Came back, I was homesick. And then I just dove into a bigger party scene here in Dubuque. I started with like pills, drinking all the time, out all the time. And then I actually met a boyfriend of mine, and we kind of both dove deep into the heroin world. Kind of took us, swept us right from our feet. Like, he was on pills, and I also did pills with him, and then we just happened upon heroin, and yeah, it literally took everything from me. Um,
Wow. So I'm pretty naive. So when it comes to heroin, is that one of the drugs too, where like you try it once and it's, you're hooked or
yeah, 100%. Um,
Okay.
you wouldn't think that, but now reflecting back on like the beginning of my journey, it was, yeah, 100%. You do it one time and it's like you chase that feeling, and that's literally what addiction to me is, chasing
Mhm.
a feeling, and you just feel like you're insane, because you know what you're doing is wrong, and you know, like, you're hurting a ton of people, but you just keep chasing that, because with heroin also, it makes you physically ill if you don't have it.
Mhm.
So after doing it so many times, your body is physically addicted to it, which causes physical withdrawals, and it's terrible. Yeah. So
Yeah. So how long were you together with your boyfriend and into the heroin and other things, prescription drugs and all that?
Um, so I probably really got into it when I turned 19. Me and my boyfriend, it was slow. Like, I could work while using it. And it started with
Mhm.
like sniffing it, and then it quickly turned into using needles, um, which is an addiction in itself. Using the actual needle, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
so uh yeah, I would work, I was in school while I was using it for a little bit, but everything slowly started to fall apart. I was
Mhm.
failing my classes in school, um, and I retook it to, like, satisfy my parents, to continue to hide and, like, show that "Hey, I'm going to school, I'm doing good." And I wasn't really sure. I don't think I fully understand where I was at until I started getting like physically sick, and I didn't know why. And I was very confused as to what was happening. And then I quickly realized it was because of the drug. And I don't feel like you learn that in school. Like, you always learn don't do drugs, but like, you don't learn, like, you get physically, like all the stuff that comes with it. It's just, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, like I
Um,
said, I'm naive and I don't know a lot about it. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, they don't tell you about all those things that like you need to, be chasing after more, every day
yeah.
trying to find your next, fix and yeah. So how, I mean, so with school too, what were you going to school for and how did that kind of come to an end for you then?
So I first went to Iowa, and then I transferred to NICC to be an X-ray tech, and I actually was in the program. I was like 2.5 years, like,
Mm,
with my gen eds. I was only a semester into the X-ray program, but yeah, I had quite a few credits. So that was pretty disappointing to realize that at that point in my life, I was probably no longer going to be going to school for X-ray. Um, and yeah, it just, and then I eventually lost my job. I job hopped a lot. Throughout, I was with my boyfriend for 6 years. And throughout this 6 years, I mean, I lost my job. He didn't have a job. We moved from place to place, just barely getting by, racking up a ton of debt, just everything. I mean, that comes with drug addiction. And I don't know, it's hard to explain why you can't stop, but it's like a cloud that's over your head all the time and you can't shake it.
Mm-hmm. Were there things like in your life that I guess led you down this path? I know there's some things that we're not going to talk about today, but you know, like
Um,
you want to elaborate a little bit on some, like what kind of got you wrapped up into all that, or feeling like you
I would
had to
say
go down that.
escape. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Escaping, not ever learning to express my emotions and just having all that bottled up and just trying to escape it, because when I grew up, we just talking about our feelings wasn't really a thing. So,
Mhm.
holding everything in and not dealing with anything from my past ever and just drinking through high school. Like that was my escape in high school and a little bit in college. And then it quickly escalated to hard drugs.
Mhm. Okay, okay.
So I think it was just an escape for me because of all the like past trauma. There was a lot of anger in my life. I had a lot of anger myself. And yeah, it just
Yeah.
added up on me.
I remember one time you had shared about like how you just wanted to like beat everybody up and you wanted to
Oh
start
yeah.
fights, and
Oh yeah.
like,
I
you
was that
now,
girl.
knowing who you are now, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I
I
can't.
know. I was definitely that girl in high school that got drunk and tried to fight everybody. So
Yeah.
that's a little embarrassing, but you know.
Oh, no, no. It just goes to show you, like, yeah, holding all those feelings in, what it can do. It's like it's got to come out some way, somehow, and um, yeah. So unfortunately, like for you, it came out in anger in a lot of ways too. And I
Yeah.
think it's important for people to hear that too, because maybe they don't understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling. And it's like, well, yeah, if you haven't dealt with certain things, then yeah, it's gonna just be like a volcano and just, yeah, it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so yeah, Deb asked a question about how did you realize that you needed to straighten out? So yeah, we can, if you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
answer that.
So, this went on for 6 years. Me and my boyfriend just continued to do drugs and just got deeper into the hole. And so uh one day we were at his house and he had taken some Xanax because he was prescribed it, and probably um took not the prescribed amount, but um
Mhm.
and then we both did a shot of heroin, both passed out, and when I woke up, he was gone. So I at that time, his mom had actually just walked in the house, and I yelled for her to call 911 because I knew immediately. And it was just it it broke me even more than
Mhm.
I was.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay to show your emotions. I think it's important too. It's it's hard to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that happened, I really didn't know what to do. And I was still using and I was still gonna be sick. So I had
Mhm.
to get myself better. And so I took my parents' vehicle and I ended up getting committed that day because they were obviously terrified because my boyfriend had just passed away and we had been together for 6 years.
Mhm.
I think they knew oh, by this time I had already I'm sorry, back up a little. I was in
Mhm.
rehab uh at Mercy. not Two North, but I'm sorry, I can't think of the name. But I was just in it wasn't an inpatient, it was an outpatient. So I went weekly.
Mhm.
So my parents were aware of the heroin use now, but they thought I was clean. So then it was a
Okay.
big kind of eye opener when my boyfriend passed away and,
Mhm.
you know, they thought I was clean. So immediately they committed me because obviously they were terrified. But I feel like that just
Mhm.
started a whole more big spiral of events for me because I was committed to Two North. I was not allowed to go to his funeral. And then after I felt like I was shipped away to this rehab for 30 days immediately after my boyfriend had passed. So I'm by myself with these strangers, sick, um, not even getting like any sort of closure, I felt like. And and I was mad. I was very resentful. I didn't go there trying to get better, but
Yeah. Mm.
that was just the start of my rehab journey.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and you've kind of talked about, yeah, not having that closure, and we're going to do something coming up here for the anniversary
Yeah.
of his passing. Get something figured out, but yeah,
Yeah.
just meeting you and hearing the stories, like we got to do something. You got to have some closure. How many years has it been now?
He died in 2016.
Okay, okay. So yeah, that much
So
time has gone past,
yeah.
and so you get to rehab, and you're not really wanting to be there. So kind of like, yeah, talk a little bit about that too, and what that was like for
Um,
you.
it's very different. I had not ever been to anything like that, and I had never been to Two North prior to that. So I was up in Two North, waiting for a bed in rehab. So the whole experience was just, and while this was going on, there was a funeral going on for my boyfriend that I could not go to. So
Mhm.
I'm up there just sick because um, they did put me on Suboxone, which is a medication that prevents people from getting high. But if you have the drugs still in your system when you take it, it'll throw you into immediate withdrawal. And that's
Oh,
what happened to me. So I was
oh
like, it
boy.
was like 10 times the sickness that I normally had, like all at once with all my emotions. Um,
Yeah.
Rehab, I think, opened my eyes to the possibility of being clean, and it gave me like a 30-day stretch of what it could be like. But once I came back to Dubuque, I was doing the exact same thing.
Okay.
I was talking to the same people, I was hanging out with the same people. I was an outpatient still at Mercy, but I was using. I would fail all
So
my drug tests, and I would just say my boyfriend passed. I would give an excuse as to why I'm using.
mm,
Like I'm not better. So I feel like I got a lot of passes for that.
so what does it mean when you're an outpatient?
So it just means that you go weekly and check in and you have group.
Okay.
So it's not
Okay.
like you have to stay there and sleep there like an inpatient rehab would be.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So eventually I was done with it. I didn't want to live with my parents. I wanted to use drugs, so I just left. I left their house. I basically couch surfed for 2 years maybe.
Okay.
Just not good situations. So many it's such a scary thing when everyone that you're with is using a drug that could kill them, and then to see someone like almost overdosing. I mean, so many times in my life, it's like after witnessing my boyfriend passing, it was just like trauma after trauma, and I just kept putting myself in it, and
Mhm.
I was just stuck in a cycle because I didn't know what to do. I didn't think anybody understood.
Yeah. Yeah. And Trish, she's asking, did you relapse after because it was forced and not your choice, do you think? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel you can force anyone to get better. It's really your own decision internally. You have to really want it.
Right, right. So, so you're couch surfing and trying to like just survive pretty much at this
Yeah.
point then? Like, yeah. So, what else did that lead you into? Anything else or
Oh yeah.
um
That's when I started to get arrested. Um,
mhm,
it seemed like all the time for public intax, like possession of marijuana, possession of pills, shoplifting. Like I did some
we do
stuff that I can't even believe. And it's
we do have
just,
your oh sorry, we do have your mugshot if they can put that up here
oh
too.
yeah,
You've
that's not
submitted
it.
that and um oh,
But yeah, so I was probably arrested, I don't know, 10 times. And finally I was
mhm,
stuck, like I got stuck in jail because I couldn't be bonded out anymore. Um, but yeah,
mhm.
so that was I eventually got into drug court. So I had gotten arrested so many times that they're like, all right, this is what got me into drug court, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
was a bunch of checks that I had written that were stolen. So I
Mhm.
basically had like 18 counts of forgery on my record, and I was in jail sick. And my boyfriend's trial was going on for because he
Oh,
had
wow.
passed away, and they were surveilling everything. So the cops just pretty much know what's going on in Dubuque. And
Mhm.
so when I was in jail, I actually had to go up and testify in Cedar Rapids. So not only was I sick, but I was in an orange jumpsuit, handcuffed, sick, taken to Cedar Rapids to testify about my boyfriend that had passed away.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
just like one embarrassing thing I felt like after another. And I'm like, well, who cares now? Why do I care
Mhm.
what anyone thinks of me? So I had
Mhm.
no intention of getting better. It was
Okay.
not in my plan at that time.
So would you say with your rock bottom or what was your rock bottom?
Um, so eventually when I was in drug court, um, I couldn't handle it. They every you can get like every week you go to court, and if you're in trouble, you go to jail weekly. So it's
Mhm.
hard to keep a job. It's hard to you have to go to a lot of sassy classes and AA and NA, and it's an overload for someone that was addicted that didn't have a job or do anything to jump into this and have like all of this stuff every week. And
Mhm.
I wasn't ready to be clean, so I didn't want to be in it anyway.
Right.
So I ran from drug court. And when I ran, I was pregnant. And
Mhm.
so I was probably gone for 3 weeks, maybe. I'm not sure on the timeline because that part of my life is really fuzzy because I was on drugs. So sometimes it's hard to
Right, right.
remember exactly. But
Yeah.
so I ran away with the person that had got me pregnant. And eventually I realized I'm like, okay, I have a living baby inside of me. I have to go. I knew I was going to go to prison. If you run from drug court, your option is prison. So I knew
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I was going to. So eventually I turned myself in, and I was just like, okay, we're doing this. I don't think I was in the mindset yet that I wanted to be clean. I
Mhm.
don't think I had a connection to my son at the time in my belly because it was like so strange to me. Like I wasn't showing very much. So it was hard for me to be like, okay, there's a baby in there. But
Mhm.
I turned myself in. I sat in county for a month, I think. And then I ended up sitting in Mitchellville for 7 months. So during that time, I had to have my child in prison. So I got transferred to the Iowa City prison for males, which I can't remember right now. I'm sorry. But so it was an all male prison at 36 weeks pregnant. And I had to sit in this room. There was probably 6 girls that were pregnant there. It's like we were locked in a room for all day, every day for a whole month being pregnant. Yeah.
Oh.
If they could get around to us, we'd get an hour out in the yard, but that was not often because we were females in a male prison. And that wasn't their top priority. It was letting us out exercise.
Why did they put you in a male prison?
So I could be closer to Iowa City to have my baby. So once you hit like the 36 mark when you're pregnant for the 40 weeks, they sent you to the other prison. So you were closer to the hospital in case you were having your baby. So the prison we were in, we weren't close to anything. So, and having my child as an inmate was definitely an experience. I was not treated like a human, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like everything was like, oh, okay, we'll get to it. Like, yeah, we'll get you. We'll get you. Or like, I just felt very, like an animal having a baby. And it was the weirdest experience. So, but when my son came out, I knew that my life was going to change.
Yeah.
Were
you by yourself when you had him, or was anybody else allowed to come in with you? Like your family?
My mom was there, and my dad was also behind the curtain. And my son's father and his mom were also there in the waiting room, so they were able to come and see him.
He's so handsome.
He is. So, yeah. And then I had to go back to prison for 2 weeks to finish that out before I could go home to my son. So after having a baby, they took him from me and I had to go back to prison. So that was tough.
Yeah.
I had a lot of anger, but I knew I wanted to change for my son. The moment I had him, I could just tell something in me changed. And so luckily my parents are amazing and they brought him up every weekend until I came home. So we could have that bond and but that was tough. And that was another thing when I came home. I also felt like I wasn't as connected with him because I had been separated from him for 2 weeks after he was born. And it just felt wrong to me. So it was hard for me to connect with him and feel like a mom kind of right off the bat. Yeah, that was tough.
And were you so during your pregnancy then did you get sober or were you still
Yep.
Okay.
So once I had turned myself in, I was done. So unfortunately I probably had 2 months in my pregnancy. But yeah, once I went to jail and prison, I was clean for my whole pregnancy. So
yeah,
I mean, so I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your honesty. I think, yes, people need to hear these things and they need to hear about, what happens, to people, when they get in the system and, it sounds like it's pretty unpleasant, which, it shouldn't be very pleasant, but it seems like there should be a little bit more compassion, especially for people that are, pregnant women or people that are sick, like,
there was one thing that
have you ever
was weird to me. When I was in Mitchellville and I was probably like 30 weeks pregnant, they still put the chains around my waist and my hands and my feet. And I was like, I'm pregnant. but
Where am I
that's
gonna
okay.
run?
Yeah.
So it was
Yes.
just a terrible experience, and it really breaks my heart that I couldn't have a regular pregnancy, but I'm so grateful for where I am.
Yes. We're grateful for you. Yeah. Your story is going to touch so many people, Shelby, and you have your own little podcast that you've been doing too. Not little podcast, but you and Mackenzie from the class. So that's awesome. Like you guys are doing that, and yeah, like sharing our stories. That's what we're supposed to do to help each other. And so yeah, you're just so brave. And yeah, Trish, she wants to give you a hug through the phone. Trish is my business partner with
Thank you.
the Gong Studio. So yes. Yes, Deb, we're super proud. Yes, proud of you that you've come a long way. Yeah. Yep.
Thank
And that's
you.
why we do what we do here at Skydoor too. Is just like, yep. Yep. So you have your baby, you get home after having that 2 weeks and back, so you're back with him. So how does life change from here on out then for you?
So when I got back, unfortunately, his dad and I didn't see eye to eye. So he wasn't in the picture for the first couple years. But my mom, I lived with my parents, so that was tough. It's tough to parent at your parents, especially when you don't know what you're doing. So
Oh yeah.
my parents were so helpful, and I couldn't be more thankful or grateful to them, but we had our ups and downs, that's for sure. And then COVID hit, so everybody was home
Oh,
for
Oh, yeah.
months.
oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So through that time, I feel like my anger, I had never really dealt with it. So I would just get ridiculously angry, and I would just cry because I'm like, why am I this way? Like, and I knew I didn't want to raise my son that way. And I didn't want to show him that anger. And just, yeah. So I started looking for houses after COVID because I had saved up quite a bit of money with all the COVID money that was coming.
Oh,
And
Mhm.
so I found a house. It didn't work out, and I just feel like my anger kept building. And at this time, I actually was working at Nordstrom. So I was waking up at like 4:30 in the morning, going to work for 12 hours, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then trying to take care of my kid at my parents' house and find a house. And it was just, I could just tell, like, I was just like, something in me has to change, or I can't live like this. Like, it was just too overwhelming. And I had never learned how to, I don't even think like fully feel and let go of my emotions. So I feel like I always just shoved them down. And it was just, I could just, realizing that I was a mom and I had to teach my son, like manners and just, being kind and respectful. And I knew I didn't want to have him grow up in an angry household. That was my biggest thing. Anger, yelling, that wasn't the path I was going to go. So I just, once I moved out, I actually got a promotion at Nordstrom. So I moved out. I feel like it got better. Meanwhile, I'm starting to go to like the center and the gong baths and the crystal bowl sound meditations. And it's, I can feel something in me as I'm like, okay, this is, first couple times I was like, I can't shut my head off. So I don't know if this is for me. But then once my job really kind of got me to the point where I was like, okay, I have to do something or I have to quit my job. I started meditating at home, and it really opened my mind to like calming your mind, not being like literally just thinking nothing. And I didn't understand that concept for the longest time. Like, I'm like, how do you think nothing? Like, that didn't make sense to me. I was like, because I'm like 100 thoughts a minute. But
Yeah.
once I actually, because I used to get up before I went to work at Nordstrom at like 4 in the morning, and I would meditate because my job was so stressful, and it really like was getting to me. So I would get up 4:30 in the morning, start meditating, and then I don't know. When I turned 30, this sounds probably, I don't know, cliche, but when I turned 30, it was just like something, a switch was flipped. Like I was
Mm.
like, okay, I get to choose my own job. I'm not happy. I can tell it's affecting the way I parent my son and just everything really, like waking up not happy, like being tired all the time. It just didn't fit the lifestyle that I wanted for me or my son.
Yeah.
And when I ended up quitting Nordstrom, and that was, I feel like, when my spiritual journey like really, really started. I really started going to the gong baths. That is what was when one opened. Um,
Mhm.
I was like meditating a lot. I had bought a lot of books to read. And it doesn't happen fast, but
No.
eventually I could tell I was starting to release that anger. And um, so I thought I was releasing it then. But
Mhm.
I was calm. I was calmer. And it was such a change for me because like my anger, I just felt like I was an angry person, and that was just who I was, and I just had to live with that. But
Mhm.
absolutely not true.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and then I found your self-love class, and that really opened my eyes, because when I took that, I told myself I was going to be 100% honest. I wanted to share. I wanted to put myself out there, be vulnerable, which is terrifying.
Mhm. It
And
is. It is.
yes. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for having that class.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Again, you heard me share my story and what things I've gone through in my life, and being vulnerable and sharing it, that's so we need to do to help each other out. So yeah, we had a really great group of people in our group too, and
Yeah,
you
we
guys are
did.
all going to stay connected, which is
Yeah,
awesome too, and
yeah.
meeting other people. And um in the group setting too, you get to just bounce things off of each other. And I love how each one of you were giving each other advice, so it was
Mhm.
really, yeah, it's really special.
I
So
think, yeah, that really opened my eyes too, to
mhm.
hear different perspectives from people on like my own situations, because you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I never thought of it that way. Or, it just opens your mind if you're willing to open it, I guess.
Yeah, yes, you got to be ready, you got to be ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how old was your son by the point where you kind of started like feeling like, yeah, like life has to change?
I would say like 2. He was probably 2.
Okay. And he's how old now?
He's 4 now.
4. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Aw.
What's his name?
Dawson.
Dawson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
He's
Yeah.
literally my world.
It's funny how kids do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's amazing. He
Yep.
was definitely a gift, a blessing, that's for sure for
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing how those blessings come. You just never know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So yeah, so you've been doing the gong baths and meditating. Any other like helpful hints for people out there that might be struggling with something similar as to what you were going through?
I would say journaling. I never was someone to journal, and I always thought, like, why am I doing this? Why am I writing thoughts down that are already in my head? But really, it
Mhm.
just helps you get them out. I would
Yeah.
say journaling is a big one. Like grounding,
Yeah.
um, getting out in nature, just being in the sun, not being inside like on phones. And I know it's hard for winter, but like just little changes I've realized in my life go a long way. If you commit to them every single day, like I have a problem with cleaning up. So
Mhm.
my goal every day is 30 minutes. I need to clean up whatever it is that I do. I just need to do
Mhm.
30 minutes of cleaning up every day. And that
Yeah.
just little things like that have really helped me, and it just keeps your house clean, your head clean,
Yeah.
clean space. Yeah, it's just I
It
don't
makes
know.
a big difference. It
Yeah,
does.
it really
Really does.
does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing I also feel like I've learned is you don't need to rush. Not everything needs to be a
Mhm.
rush. Like I've really tried to like live in the moment and be present with my son when we're doing something, be present in the car, like listening to the song, singing with him, doing the ABCs, whatever it is. I just really try to be present in the moment that
Mhm.
I'm in, because in my opinion, that's life. That's your life. It's not the destination,
Yeah.
it's the journey.
Yes.
I think that was
Yes.
some of the favorite times in my car. It was with the kids and
Yeah.
listening to music when they were going and dancing. That's just, there's
Mhm.
something really uplifting and feels really good. And
Yeah.
makes you act stupid in public, but
Who cares?
Yeah. Another thing I have learned, I actually have this written on my fridge, is don't take anything personally. I feel like I used to do that a lot, and I would always be like, I would overthink someone's answer to my question, and I would be like, oh my gosh, just freaking myself out. So then I just have a stressful day, and it's like they probably didn't mean anything by it, and if they did, that's on them type of, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Like you can't make anybody think or believe the way you do. And I think that was a big thing. Like
Yeah.
also with me was like trusting my own intuition and um just believing in myself. I always used to have to have my mom or dad like verify or like, yes, you're doing the right thing. Like anybody really.
Mhm.
Like I just needed verification that I was doing the right thing. And I don't need that anymore. So I
Wow.
enjoy trusting myself and like just learning along the way, because even though something may not work out, it's a lesson, not a failure.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, yes. And we need those. We need them in life too. That's how we learn and that's how we grow.
Yeah.
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 So I'm sure through this journey too that you've probably changed, a lot of relationships got changed for you too. So like, we talked about in our class, sometimes when you evolve and you spiritually grow, you lose people in your life too. You outgrow them. So I'm sure, like, was that a hard thing for you too as you transitioned out of using drugs to like getting, out of that group and, finding other people to be with and, in a safe environment?
Yeah. I would say it wasn't hard to leave the group that I was with when I was doing drugs. That was probably easier, but I tried to grab onto my old high school friends, I feel like 6 years is a long time. And it's,
Hmm.
everything that I went through, nobody really knows how to react or act around. I feel like I was tiptoed around a lot. So I just had to realize, it took me a long time to realize that it's okay to love people from a distance, and it's okay that not everybody is in your life for your whole life. Like they have seasons.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but
Hmm. Yep.
I feel like I'm starting
It
to
is.
find people um that are more on my path than I'm on. And I feel like
Hmm.
to grow, you have to grow with the people around you. And if people aren't ready to grow, then you just got to continue.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's okay too. That's okay.
Yep.
We wish them well, and you have to get on with your life too and what's best for you.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I think
Um,
I didn't do that a lot. Like what's best for me. I think I thought I was, but I really wasn't.
okay. So what are some things that you do on a daily basis to just keep yourself motivated and going? And
I would say, like the gong baths are a weekly thing. I would try to do, I will try to continue to do. But I pull a card from the Soul's Journey, which is
Mhm.
like a card deck that gives you a word. So
Mhm.
every morning I pull one of those cards, I read the reading, kind of reflect on it, and try to relate it to things I have happen throughout the day. Um,
Mhm.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. Soul of Jarrett is one that I listen to that's really good. I feel like the music and what you listen to really affects your day. So I
Mhm.
try to start it off on a positive note, listen to something positive. I try to spend like an hour every morning with my son, which helps me and I think helps him. I feel like I got away from that with all the busyness and my job. I worked a lot. So getting back to just slowing down and, really being in the moment and just, um, I don't know, taking everything in.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we all need to do that more.
Yeah.
This world does. It's just rush, 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 and we're on our phones and always connected to something, but we need to connect to ourselves. That's the most important thing, and our children, that's for sure too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you do spend some time at a sober bar
Oh,
too,
yes.
so tell a little bit about that special place for you.
Um, so I go down to a place called Kava Kava, and it is a sober bar that serves kava and kratom teas.
Mhm.
So I really bonded with a lot of people down there. It's a really good group of people. Just yeah, it's just refreshing when you find your tribe, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yep. Yeah, you need to
Because for
find
a
your
long
tribe.
time oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're
For a
fine, go
long
ahead.
time, I thought I didn't have a tribe, and I just thought I was solo, but I've
Mhm.
also learned that it's a lot harder to do it on your own.
It is, yeah, yeah. We try to be tough and we wanna do it on our
Yeah.
own, but at the end of the day, yeah. So what anything else you wanna share about your what you got going on? Like, what are your plans for the future? What's the future look like?
So, right now, I am doing a podcast with my cousin. We documented our self-love journey through Melissa's class, and we
Mhm,
just kinda talked about, like, what we thought of the class, like, nothing personal from anybody but ourselves,
mhm,
but just kind of reflecting, making ourselves accountable because I wanted to put 110% into this class and get what I
mhm.
absolutely could out of it. So we're kind of working on that. We want to do some positive affirmation shirts. We're kind of working on maybe some beanies. I'm just kind of living in
Cool.
the moment and seeing where life takes me.
Mhm.
If we wanted to listen to the podcast, where would we listen to it at? Oops.
So, I have a Facebook page. It's called Paper Planes Boutique. So, like I said, not everything that you try works out. I tried to do a boys' clothing store, and I just felt like that wasn't the direction I wanted to go.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I do have a Facebook page called Paper Planes Boutique, and it does have a website link on that to paperplanesco.com. So it's
Okay.
paperplanesco.com is where the shirts will be posted. There'll be videos like we did cryotherapy. We took videos of that. I think we're gonna video the uh, ceremony that we're gonna do for my boyfriend that had passed, and put that
Mhm.
on there. Just things about our life to just be real, honestly.
Anytime you guys wanna come
Hopefully,
to do the gong bath, document
oh
that too.
yeah,
Maybe we can figure something out with that. That'd be cool.
yeah, yeah. Really,
Yeah.
just kind of I don't know if blogging's the word, but like blogging our life and just showing people like this is what we do, and this is our journey.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Do you have
Hopefully help some
questions?
people on the way, help ourselves.
Yes, all the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they got it up there for you. Paperplanesco.com.
Yep.
So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. I think I'm definitely gonna steal the card idea. I don't know about cleaning 30 minutes every day. I'll have to work
Oh,
on that
you
one.
could do that. That would be nice. I'm for that.
I still struggle with that one too. So
Ugh.
sometimes it's
Sky door?
15.
Well, as long as you get a little bit done.
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a headway.
Yeah.
Sky Door has openings for new shows. Hint, hint, too.
Oh,
From the
yes.
producer.
Yes. Maybe you will see me and my cousin eventually.
Yes, you get your own. Yeah, you get they do the producing for you. Hey, Amanda from our class, she popped up. Amanda
Hello.
Becker. So, hey, Amanda.
So
Yeah,
you had
I think-
asked
yeah.
me a myth
Go ahead.
of drug addiction, like
What's
a
that?
myth about it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was one of
Yeah.
the questions.
So
what's
I
a
just
myth about?
I feel like people have this perception that drug addicts are bad people, and I don't
Hmm.
feel like that's true. They're making bad decisions, and until they decide, they can't nothing the person's going to do, they have to love them from a distance is going to help them, basically.
Mm.
So I just feel like there's such a bad, like, yes, drug addicts do bad things, make bad choices, but they're not bad people. They can change.
I love that you say that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they can change. And you just got to give them the chance. And I know sometimes it seems like you're giving them a million chances, but maybe that one
Mhm.
time will work. It just,
Ah,
you just got to tell people you love them. And if it's from a distance, that's fine. But I just feel like we get such a bad rap in the paper. Like when I was going through all this, there was a bunch of stories in the paper with a bunch of different people that I knew, and it was not good. It didn't,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to ramble on about, but I just
No, I
yeah.
no, I think like you said, I mean, it's just real people. I had a client that worked at a prison, and she's like, we're all one bad day away from being in a prison ourselves. You just never know what life's, what
Yeah.
turn is going to take us down and where we're going to end up, maybe, from, certain events that happen to us in our life. So yeah, how can we judge where somebody is
Yeah.
when they do that to themselves? And yeah, I think it's a great point to make too, of just loving them from a distance, kind of giving them their space. If you're feeling a little wore out, that it's okay to do that. Yeah. So what about so we have a myth about it, and what's a reality about drugs?
It's 100% a family disease. Like,
Mm.
even though you're in the moment, you think, oh, I'm not there, I'm not affecting them, they shouldn't worry about it, but it is 100%. And it's unfortunate that it does affect everybody, and even people you wouldn't even think it affected, it affects even the community.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to like shun them, but like love them from a distance. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I think too, like people that have family members with mental health too. I've had that in my family where you just kind of get to the point where like I can't endure this any longer, and you get upset and you get frustrated with a person, and you don't want them to be in your life any longer. But reminding yourself that they can't help it a lot of times too. And
Yeah.
prayer, the power of prayer
Yeah.
is very, very um, a good thing to have too during those times, and remember that, and giving people grace. That's like my biggest thing, is like giving yourself grace, giving others grace, because we're all going to mess up. We're not perfect.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me was giving myself grace, because I was like, okay, I did all of this, so why would I deserve any, respect or anything really? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad I
Well,
was able to open my mind and like realize my own faults and like I don't know. Sorry.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of just like
This
realize my
show
own
went super
faults.
fast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like almost out of
No,
time.
you're
Look at the
good.
time. Like, holy cow. um,
Yeah, I think she's bummed her class is over. Or she's like, now she doesn't share anything with me, whatever. I'm like, this is because you're the first person that's made me cry on here. So, but yeah, she just like she looked forward to going to meet with y'all, and she's like, I just love these girls, and she's like, yeah. So
you do. You get connected with people. I don't know. Like I said, we share something about ourselves, and like I just love people. I don't know. That's maybe a fault in some ways too, because I'm just very trusting and vulnerable. But yeah, I get to meet a lot of awesome people like you, and look forward to what the future is going to bring. And I keep having this thought while we're sitting here too of like, is there something we can do for the women in the prison system or the jail system that are expecting babies? I mean, are outsiders allowed to like maybe make blankets or do something in support of these women? Like, wouldn't that be a cool like kind of a ministry do? Like, oh, I got goosebumps up and down.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something
definitely.
we can brainstorm about.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So yeah, a lot of love coming your way here. A lot of
thank
great
you.
people commenting for you, Shelby. And so we'll wrap things up here. Anything else, Brent?
So if you had one message you want to portray to the world, what would that be?
Love yourself. You can't love anybody else if you don't love yourself first. And that is really where I have found happiness and peace. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Melissa,
You're such a beautiful soul.